Another reason I didn't play well that day. You know, guys in front of me were just too slow.
This is On the Tee.
But if you're Patrick Cantlay, at some point, take a hint.
Nope.
If the guy you're playing with is literally a shot and a half in front of you, what do you think the guys behind you are thinking?
Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Alongside Bally Sports' Stephen Watson, here's Gabe Neitzel.
Always fun to talk with Scalzo and Brust before we jump on here on the tee. I do want to encourage anyone who wants to stream this show, not just with the audio, but you can see Stephen Watson's smiling face each and every Monday night. You check out all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin shows. We're alive on video every second, every show, every day. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, WisconsinOnDemand.com. Watch live or on demand. Listen, look live local at ESPN Milwaukee. I notice, and I don't know if this was because we kind of soft launched the video portion, and now we're really encouraging people to go check it out. And we had been releasing videos of On the Tee, throughout the week, the first few shows. And there was an individual who responded to one of those, noticing you in the full suit. I mean, you look great. You had the pocket square. You were ready to go because you had to book right out of here like you do today. You got to book out of here to go do the day job, or in your case the night job, as the Brewers are out on the West Coast tonight. So you got to book out of here, go to the TV studio. So you were just dressed as you would be for TV, and I was over here wearing a hoodie, a hat, and just looking nowhere near you. So you were much more down.
You were much more on brand for our show.
Yeah,
I have a motto that I live by: if you don't sound good, look good. So that's why I dressed up for the occasion.
Yeah, so you're a little more dressed down today. Just the collared shirt. You don't have the jacket. Did you leave that in the car?
Yes.
Okay. So
I actually saw these comments and I said maybe I should try and tame it down a little bit.
I don't think so. Or were you just kind of...
Maybe I'll be the first golf podcaster just wear a suit every single round.
I mean, the pocket square always brings it together. You're one of the best dressed people on television here in Milwaukee.
Wow, Gabe, you're coming out firing with me today.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I appreciate it.
I'm just saying.
I try to have
this
fun
is why This is why people should be tuning in and watching on video to see if Stephen Watson... You'll have to know if Stephen Watson is working the game on Bally later that night based on how he's dressed for the show.
Spoiler, I am tonight.
Yeah.
But sorry, I didn't bring this pocket square for you. I'll be sure to continue the trend.
I'm a sucker for the pocket square because I think it just brings everything together.
Yeah,
just
good
always
pocket
ties
square.
Everything.
Yeah,
just puts everything over the top. Speaking of going over the top, a former Wisconsin Badger quarterback went over the top of a bunker.
That was one of your best, Gabe.
We're going to talk about it right now in It's All About the Drive, courtesy of our friends at Ewald Automotive.
Sometimes it's all about the drive. But off the tee, it's all about the drive. The best and biggest shots of the weekend.
That house is like 400 yards away.
Is that good?
That's unbelievable.
It's all about the drive. On the Tee is brought to you by Ewald Automotive. Shop the Ewald Automotive Group, home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile limited warranty on all new vehicles. Visit any of their 8 locations today, in-store or online at ewaldautomotive.com. Ewald Automotive, we make it easy.
I was completely unaware of this until you had sent me the text this morning with the tweet. And it was apparently confirmed. But Russell Wilson, while playing golf somewhere out in Colorado this weekend, drove into a bunker and crashed his golf cart.
I have a lot of questions.
What's the first one?
Did he know the bunker was there? Is probably the first one. Russell, he's such a clean guy. I don't think it was because of intoxication or anything like that.
Sure.
I think he might have been looking the wrong way and just not understanding. I don't think he's a big golfer. I don't know that much about him as a golfer.
Neither do I. I wasn't aware
he doesn't
that he
play in
played
any of the celebrity events or anything that we see, like out in Tahoe that a lot of professional athletes play in. So my guess is he probably just took his eyes, maybe he got distracted, looked around, and all of a sudden he flipped the golf cart into the bunker.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he was a decent player. He used to play baseball.
Yeah.
He got drafted in baseball, so I wouldn't be shocked if he was a good player. But it's embarrassing. You crash your golf cart into a bunker. It's embarrassing. Just like when I was doing the show with Homer in the afternoons, this was probably 6-7 years ago at this point. He drove a golf cart at Ironwood into one of the ponds they have out there. He was looking for, the one thing you need to know if you ever play golf with Homer is, and have you played golf with Homer?
I sure have.
Okay,
yes.
so he is constantly looking for golf balls. Not his own. He is looking for golf balls to collect, and then he kind of gives them away to different ranges and he's very Homer about
He
it.
uses range balls on the golf course. I have
Yes.
a big problem with it.
Yeah, I would understand that. So he was driving close to a pond, looking for more golf balls, and was unaware of kind of a slope that was coming up because he wasn't paying attention, and the slope just took him down into the pond. They had to, like, call out the gator to like, tow this thing out of there. So I unfortunately was not with him during this incident, but I have a few photos of that I'll never get rid of on my phone.
Was he okay? I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
usually the first question
he
you
was,
should ask
He was
in this.
more, I mean, he was just terribly embarrassed.
Yeah.
Terribly embarrassed. Knew he had to bring it up on the show and talk about it on the show, but he was terribly embarrassed.
There's no recovery from the golf cart because you need somebody to come fix it, bring it back.
Yes.
Especially when you're going into water. Maybe out of a trap, you could push it out yourself, but then
Yeah.
you've damaged a trap, and
Yep.
you got to own up to that. There's really no good way to recover from golf carts and traps
No.
or ponds.
I fortunately, and so what are some of your embarrassing golf stories? You can share them at 800-990-3776. I fortunately do not have any golf cart embarrassing stories, but I mean, you play golf long enough, there are going to be plenty of embarrassing stories.
Yes.
And for me, it's more about, I've got two, and both were from around high school. Wasn't a real good player. But the first one that was kind of embarrassing, I was at a driving range. Me and my buddy just, summer day, let's just go to the driving range, whatever. And we're hitting balls. And for whatever reason, I was teed up behind, like, the metal, like, kind of stanchions that, like, hold your bag.
Yep.
And I rocketed a ball off of this. And it ricocheted and hit my buddy in the shoulder. His shoulder was messed up for like a week.
Ugh.
He went down. I mean, you ever get hit by a golf ball, like, it'll take you down. And then also, so the sixth hole at what is now Horicanya Hills, used to be Rock River Hills, is a long par 3, 200 yards or so from this back blue tee, and it's a nice little tee box because you have the marsh completely surrounding it. You walk up off the previous green, you have the marsh in front of you, marsh behind you, marsh to your left, and then you hit over pretty much mostly marsh, mostly carried to this par 3. And I was hitting a 5-wood, and I, like, just topped it into the marsh. I was so mad, I threw my 5-wood, like, in one motion, like, swung through, realized I topped it, and in another motion just came back through, and the club I whipped it into the marsh. I was ready to leave it. My buddy wisely went, no, you're not going to do that, and waded into the marsh for me to get my 5-wood.
Wow, that's a good friend.
Really good friend. But that's like, throwing a temper tantrum on the golf course by throwing your club into a marsh, it's never a good look. Doesn't
No.
matter how old you are, being, 16, 17, it's not an excuse. So that's pretty embarrassing.
It's funny that you bring up the pain of getting hit with a golf ball, because I think one of my most embarrassing golf stories actually involves me hitting you with a golf
Yeah, but you
ball.
hit me in the right spot.
If you haven't heard the story before, it's been brought up on the tee a couple of times now. Gabe and I had this unbelievable opportunity to play Whistling Straits in the fall on a night we honored the late Mr. Herb Kohler. And we got to play whistling after an event had played during the day. We had the course to ourselves. We're playing with head pro, director of golf, Mike O'Reilly up there, having a great time. Second hole we're playing because we tee off on the back. I just scold a gap wedge. And Gabe's off to my right, and I just hosel rocketed right into his behind. And I was mortified. I was so embarrassed because we're playing Whistling Straits.
Yep.
With the head pro. Mm-hmm. The sun is setting.
On a Chamber of Commerce day.
It is, like, you can't even write how beautiful of a night this is. We have the home of the Ryder Cup to ourselves.
Yep.
And I hosel rocketed a ball right into your ass.
Yep, that's a thing that happened. I was fine. We were able to finish the round. It was no problem. But yeah, I think
The
you hit
look
me in the
on
right
your
spot.
face after it happened will never leave my soul.
Well, it's
The
a
look
little
of,
shocking.
Not only did you just do that, it wasn't the I'm not mad, I'm disappointed type of look on your face of like, you did this to me?
I mean, Stephen Watson with a wedge in his hands is usually pretty deadly. Like, he's going to stick it, and instead he stuck it someplace else.
Dramatic pause. The other story I have of an embarrassing moment that happened to me actually happened while I was walking and carrying by myself. And I've never told this story before.
Oh, all right.
I was playing Wisconsin Club on the back nine. There are a couple holes, private, 13 and 14 out there. Get a lot of geese.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of geese. Because there's a pond that separates the two holes. And there was a loose goose out there looking for said family. And I'm walking up to my ball after I hit my drive. I'm pretty close to the water. Goose wouldn't go away. Turns out there were some baby geese close by to the ball that I didn't spot.
So this was Mama Goose.
Mama
just kinda,
Goose was territorial, to say the least.
Well, I'll just tell you this. I'm sure. I'm not sure how the story ends, but I'm sure you found out. Geese are among the meanest animals that exist. As someone who grew up on a marsh with geese are mean. You don't want to mess with geese.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. So I go to approach my ball. Mother Goose staring me right in my soul. Like, do I move my ball? Like, no. I'm a human being. This thing's gonna move. I've got a 7-iron in my hand. Like, it's gonna move. Oh no.
No.
I was close enough to baby geese that Mama starts coming at me. Does like the pedal, like both wings go up, like almost like a peacock was coming at me.
Was she hissing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
God! You get the hiss, it's game over.
I decide, do I swing or do I run?
So a true fight or flight situation.
What do? I decide not to swing.
Yep.
I decide to turn. And I turned right into my golf bag, flipped over my golf bag, down a rolling hill, and my entire right leg went into the pond.
But the goose left you alone.
No baby geese were harmed in this story.
But the goose left you alone then.
Oh, I mean, Mama Goose won.
Yeah.
She's like, you're the weakest link in this party, bud.
I thought we were going to have a Larry David Black Swan situation here.
But let me tell you, I don't mess with geese anymore.
No, you do not. Geese are so mean.
It's like the alligator that bit Chubb's hand off. You just let that ball go. I'll take the 2 strokes instead of dealing with Mama Goose ever again.
Yeah, that's no.
I've never told that story.
Well, I'm glad you decided
there
to share
was a lot of pride that I had to suck up to tell that one, because that's a pretty embarrassing thing to trip over your own golf bag, golfing by yourself into the water.
So was it a warm enough day? I guess you were playing by yourself, so I don't know if you stopped to get a drink after the round or if you just went right to the car, because
from 18 right into my car with my wet shoe.
I was about to say, I mean, if it's warm enough day, maybe it gets dry enough where nobody can notice, but if you stop at the outside circle bar that they have at Wisconsin Club to have a drink, you're probably going to have to answer some questions about why your right pant leg is all wet.
Yeah, I had to also, think about when I got home how I would explain myself. So I left my golf shoes in the garage and walked inside, and
the pants had kind of dried up enough at that point
Correct.
where you didn't have to answer any questions.
Had to clean off a muddy, wet shoe, and we were good. Nobody knew until right now.
You decided to share with our large audience here on the Tee. We appreciate that, Steve. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yep, don't mess with geese.
If you have any, no, that's rule number 1. If you have any embarrassing stories you'd like to share, 800-990-3776. The best part is, if you text in, you don't necessarily have to share your name, and you can just, share your embarrassing stories anonymously. There were some cool things, I think, that happened on the PGA Tour over the weekend, especially with their coverage and everything that surrounded yesterday. These elevated events continue to me to gain momentum on a weekend where I wasn't expecting to watch much. And it's in a weekend where I don't typically watch much because I'm burnt out from the Masters. And okay, I'll flip over and see what's going on. But the leaderboard was fantastic, and the coverage was fantastic. We'll dive into why the coverage was fantastic coming up next on the Tee.
Back to the course and on the tee with Gabe and Steven after this on 94.5 ESPN.
I'm with the Associate Director of Hunger Task Force, Matt King. Matt, tell me about your organization's mission.
We operate a food bank that provides healthy food absolutely free of charge to people across Wisconsin.
And as your local office technology partner, James Imaging Systems is there to assist you and your organization.
Absolutely, it's really important to work with other local businesses that give back to the community.
I imagine operating a statewide food bank requires the help of a lot of special people.
We actually rely on the help of over 15,000 community volunteers every year.
That's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work.
People can get involved in whatever way feels most comfortable to them. They can give their time, they can give their funds, and they can give their voice.
And for those interested in helping, what's the first step?
People can go to our website at www.hungertaskforce.org.
James Imaging Systems, your local office technology partner.
Golf season is here, so make plans to play at Erin Hills. Erin Hills is the 9th-ranked public golf course in the nation. This beautiful course hosted the U.S. Open, U.S. Amateur, and in September, host of the USGA Mid-Amateur. Erin Hills is open all summer long. Book your reservations now for your golfing and lodging needs. If you want to plan ahead, Erin Hills is also accepting pre-booking for the 2024 golf season. You can search availability and begin your trip at erinhills.com. That's ERIN Hills.com.
A wide array of opportunities abound at Waste Management.
During the whole pandemic, Waste Management didn't have us laid off. I didn't get pay cuts, all that, keeping all of our benefits the same. They'll pay for your bachelor's degree, they'll pay for my master's. Next year, they'll be willing to pay for my wife's master's and kids, and to show that they're really about putting their people first and growing the business within. That's incredible.
Join the Waste Management family. Just search online, Waste Management Careers.
Don't miss your chance to see the legends of golf when they come to Central Wisconsin this summer. Watch your favorite players like Steve Stricker, Ernie Els, Jerry Kelly, Padraig Harrington, and more up close as they battle for the 43rd U.S. Senior Open Championship at Century World in Stevens Point. June 27th through July 2nd. Buy your daily, weekly, or premium tickets now at ussenioropen.com. That's ussenioropen.com.
It's our lowest prices of the season at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Right now, shop unbeatable deals on the things you need for spring. Like $6 off 40-pound bags of Blaine's brand cat food. Stabil gasoline stabilizer is only $11.49 a quart. And your choice of Fast Orange hand cleaner with pumice or Scrubs premium cleaning towels, just $11.99. Rewards members save an extra buck. Don't miss our lowest prices of the season in-store or online at farmandfleet.com. And shop our new store in Grafton, located at 1771 Wisconsin Avenue.
I'm Ben Jewick with Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors. 2023 is our 135th year in business, making it the perfect time for our crew to help you create a workspace that will help you attract, retain, and grow your business. The office is the cultural hub of the organization. We can help with interior design, construction, new furniture, and move management. Like Milwaukee's baseball team, our crew excels at home and on the road. If your company has a national facilities footprint, we can hit for you in any ballpark. Championship organizations are built on teamwork and collaboration. Visit brothersinteriors.com to see how we can help your team win.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
You're listening to On the Tee with Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson on 94.5 ESPN.
If you're listening to this show, chances are you like watching golf. You're a fan of golf. But I think even the most diehard golf fans could admit that the TV product, it's left some things to be desired over the last few years. And I think CBS has recognized this. They have some new people in charge over there. They've tried to insert new people, get new views, and almost used Nick Faldo's retirement last year to almost reset their broadcast team around Jim Nantz. And I think this was really apparent during the West Coast swing and broadcasts that they had. They had the walk-in talks with, Max Homa did one, and that carried over, obviously, to the Masters, and Justin Thomas and Rory McIlroy are doing these walk-in talks during play, where, they're able to get in their ear and they're able to explain different things that are happening. But they took their broadcast, to me, Stephen, to another level yesterday when the reigning Masters champion from just last week joined the broadcast for 45 minutes to kind of provide commentary. The first person that did this was Phil Mickelson in the PGA back in 2020, where he just sat down and went, hey, I just played this course. And Phil is charismatic. Well, however you feel about Phil, there's no doubting the charisma that he has, how well he can kind of communicate his thoughts, and it just provided a different perspective that CBS could really use. And to have Jon Rahm yesterday talking through what the leaders are going through on a course that he just played, man, that's something that golf can do that no other sport can.
It takes the right person to be that type of invested in the product. And golf is benefiting from the likes of Max Homa, Rory McIlroy. You could even say Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, and somebody like Jon Rahm, who are willing to give back to the game right now in a way we haven't seen. In years past, it was a burden for them to do these media interviews, but they're starting to understand that they are their own brand and they are their own voice, and people want to hear from them. And I think we learned that in the Netflix Full Swing documentary, that series that came out. We were able to learn about these guys, who they are, what makes them tick, what makes them competitive. And now we're starting to see somebody like Jon Rahm turn into one of the most likable golf figures that we've seen in the last decade. And there's not a bad thing you can say about this guy right now. He's dominating on the course.
Yep.
And he's finishing around and volunteering to stick around on the broadcast and give you insight that nobody in that booth could possibly give you. Not even Bones, who is caddying and maybe doing color or sideline for the Golf Channel on the weekend, because he can't take you inside the mind of a player. And that's what was so fascinating about Jon Rahm, and him being like, not only did I just play this shot, but here's what I was thinking, here's what they're likely thinking. And that type of perspective is so rare in today's sports broadcast world that it puts a lot out there on the table of where CBS and the Golf Channel and NBC, whoever's broadcasting on a weekend, can really challenge these guys to open up more. And we all win because of that. Like, we've seen guys be mic'd up or audio and video catching conversations between Jordan Spieth and Greller, and it's amazing television, right?
Put an entire round of Jordan Spieth on pay-per-view, and I will give you all of my money. Because the conversations between him and Greller are fascinating, because he's such a Patrick Cantlay, who I know we have said, last week we more or less banned because of his slow play.
We gave him the Patrick Reed treatment,
yeah,
which
we
is probably
really
a little harsh.
We were probably a little too harsh, but some examples need to be made in order to speed up slow play. But he's just kind of a quiet player. It seems like he processes a lot of things internally. There's not a lot of conversation that goes back and forth with his caddy, whereas with Spieth, the dude just word vomits things, right? Whatever he's thinking, he is going to spill out and bounce it off of Greller, and Greller sometimes pushes back, and it's a fascinating conversation to get to listen to when the broadcasts do things like that.
Jordan Spieth wears his anxiety on his sleeves.
Yes.
We live every thought with him, and that's what makes him the best live television in the game right now. I could watch the Jordan Spieth experience on pay-per-view any Sunday at any event that he is in contention for, because he literally talks to his ball like he talks to Greller. And his conversations with Greller, they have such a unique bond that they can say whatever they want to each other and know that they're going to be fine moving forward. But it makes for amazing television when you have those opportunities. And the fact that these players are opening up in the way that they are and willing to walk down the fairway at Augusta while getting interviewed, and it was Rory, Homa, and Justin Thomas who all agreed to do that during the Masters, we win. We learned something from them that we wouldn't have even gotten in a post-round interview. And I think we're going to start seeing players mic'd up. I think we're going to start seeing players continue to agree to these things, because if they want to #grow the game, Gabe, this is one really good way of making these guys likable superstars.
What they are realizing is something that the NBA and NFL have already realized, that Major League Baseball realized this offseason, is that, yeah, sports are competition, but at the end of the day, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to grab your audience and find a way to captivate them whenever they're tuning in. And if you happen to miss Jon Rahm yesterday and you're a big golf fan, I feel bad for you, because he was just spectacular. And I love what CBS has done. That's not a knock of anyone on the CBS crew. I love what Trevor Immelman has brought to the lead analyst position, taking over for Nick Faldo. I like some of the other changes that they've made when they've gotten guys like Colt Knost involved, who I think has done such a tremendous job whenever they've asked him to be a part of that broadcast team. And you have Frank Nablo and all these other, kind of established voices on their broadcast. I think they've done a really good job of making it all make sense. But to add something to that, to realize this is something that no other sport can do. When basketball tries to do the in-game interviews, you're not really getting anything out of Mike Budenholzer when he had to do the interview on TNT last night. You're not getting anything out of a head coach coming out of the locker room at halftime of an NFL game. They give you canned answers. So the closest that I think they've come to replicating this is during the Manningcast on Monday Night Football games, when you have current players on and they can kind of talk about things going on. But this is like grabbing a player who's just in the game, and now he gets to help you analyze and help everybody understand what's going on in the fourth quarter. Like it's something that's wholly unique to golf, that you can take the best player in the world and have him be a part of your telecast after he played around.
And it humanizes these guys in a really enlightening way, because you see how their brains operate as players. Like, what would they do with that shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe they didn't just have that shot on the 16th hole, but they're watching Patrick Cantlay go out there and attempt a shot that, in their mind, might be crazy. But I think golf needs to lean into their stars.
Yeah.
And they have Rory, and Rory has been more than willing to be the superhero of the game right now for the PGA Tour perspective. They have their villains on LIV, who, we watched what they did at the Masters. They're entertaining. It was a great story of at Augusta with them. And maybe they find a way to incorporate them into future major championships. Not on a PGA Tour. I don't think they would allow that to fill the guest in.
Going on
But somebody like Jon Rahm, who I think fans are starting to learn more about and learn to love, like, those are the personalities that they need to wrap their arms around, and that's how they increase their PIP opportunities, right? The Player Impact Program is they put themselves out there more. They're looking for personalities. It's a reason why guys in the NBA have shoe deals and guys in the NBA do commercials. It's because they're likable and they're superstars, and it's an international game. Golf is no different. So these guys, I think, are starting to realize more than ever that they can be a part of their own brand and watch it grow.
You brought up the villains. We're so desperate for villains. Like, we went too hard on Patrick Cantlay last week.
Yeah, he can't be a villain. He's vanilla. He's not a villain.
Yeah, but that's how desperate we are, because we got a taste for it during the Masters.
I know.
And we want to recreate that. So then he finds himself in the lead, or not in the lead, but in the final group, contending at the end. But because he's so slow, everybody gets mad at him again. Like, he almost redeemed himself after making an ace earlier in the tournament and making the joke on Twitter saying, "See, guys, I'm playing faster," and posting a video of the ace. All right, that's funny.
By the way, what a flex, right?
Oh, yes, that's fantastic. Like, it's hilarious, it's funny, it's self-deprecating,
yeah,
but also, it's a humble brag, because you just made an ace at a PGA Tour event. But then because he takes 5 minutes to hit to decide whether or not he's going to hit a ball off of a couple of railroad ties to try to get up and down and save bogey on a par 3, everybody turns on him again, and he becomes the person that everybody on social media is rooting against, even though, like you said, realistically, he's very vanilla and boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're so desperate. We're so desperate for good versus bad. We're looking for someone to root against despite all the...
It's too much rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah.
But the leaderboards are stacked.
Yes.
And we're getting finishes like we got yesterday, which is really, as a golf fan, all you can ask for is playoffs with contending big names, rising stars. I mean, these elevated events have been incredible.
I mean, you had 2 top 10 players in the world playing in a playoff with another one not that far behind. 3 top 10 players in the final group yesterday, which was spectacular. I mean, it was fun to watch. Guys hitting great shots, hitting good recovery shots. It was entertaining golf. If you weren't entertained by that yesterday, then you're probably not a fan of golf, which is fine.
Yeah.
But once again, everybody is starting to realize, and I think at least to this point in the season, the elevated events have served their purpose in terms of getting more opportunities to have what happened yesterday happen, and that is have 2 of the top players in the world go head-to-head in a playoff and have those top names coming down the stretch fighting for a win. Because that's what makes the playoffs entertaining in any other sport. That's what makes a great Sunday night football game entertaining. You have 2 great teams going head-to-head. So when you have 2 great players going head-to-head, what else could you ask for as a golf fan?
On a course that hasn't gotten the love in years past because it's always been the event that happened after the Masters. So to see a lot of guys who haven't played that course, that was fun to watch. And we got the full Jordan Spieth experience again. And, sign me up for that every week if I get that opportunity.
Quickly, what do you make? Because we brought him up, and I feel like we can't just say his name and fly past it. But Rory has been such a champion for the PGA Tour and such a champion of what this year's schedule and what the tour is going to look like going forward. But he skipped his second event. If you're unaware, he WD'd very early from this event, by the way, on Monday. And the rule is that he helped create that of all these designated events this year, you have to play in all, but you get 1 skip. He skipped the first one, the Century Tournament of Champions, giving him 0 leeway the rest of the year. We'll have to wait and see what the penalties are levied against him, if he's not going to be eligible for this PIP, if they're going to give him an exemption. Who knows? Because no reason has been given. But it's, on the surface, it's not a good look, but you start digging deeper and you hope it's not something going on in his personal life that prevented him from being in South Carolina this past weekend.
I refuse to believe that this is a golf fatigue move from Rory McIlroy. I mean, I hope nothing but the best and wish nothing but the best for him and his family if there is something going on. I hate to speculate in this type of situation, but for the way that he put himself out there and the weight that he carries on his shoulders and the pride that he's taken in revamping the game of golf and the PGA Tour, I have a hard time believing that he would just sit a week out, understanding what it means for the elevated events that he fought so hard for.
Have to wait and see what when we hear from Rory again. But again, the silence, the longer we don't get a reason why he's there, I get a feeling that it's something that's not good in terms of something's going on, perhaps personally. Otherwise, I think we'd have kind of heard a reason by now.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So hopefully, like you said, hopefully everything's okay going on with Rory McIlroy. Did bring up Patrick Cantlay. He had a ridiculous shot yesterday. Like, John Rahm didn't think he should hit it. He was on the broadcast during it, and he ended up hitting a spectacular shot and getting up and down. What are some of the better recovery shots you've hit? What are some of the better recovery shots you can think of? We'll discuss that coming up next on the tee. But don't miss your chance to see the legends of golf when they come to Central Wisconsin this summer. Watch your favorite players like Steve Stricker, Ernie Els, Jerry Kelly, Padraig Harrington, and more as they battle for the 43rd U.S. Senior Open Championship at Century World in Stevens Point. Steve Stricker, Jerry Kelly, by the way, officially entering the tournament today. June 27th through July 2nd, buy your daily, weekly premium tickets now at USSeniorOpen.com. That's USSeniorOpen.com.
No ifs, ands, or puts. There's more On the Tee with Gabe and Steven coming up on 94.5 ESPN. It's all about the drive. On the Tee is brought to you by Ewald Automotive. Shop the Ewald Automotive Group, home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile limited warranty on all new vehicles. Visit any of their 8 locations today, in-store or online at ewaldautomotive.com. Ewald Automotive, we make it easy.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Jason Fitz.
Make the Lakers conversation make sense for me, because certainly tonight is a huge game for LA. All expectations are that it's a must-win game. They've got to find a way to beat the Timberwolves. Okay, should that be that difficult for a team that suddenly Kendrick Perkins is telling me can go to the NBA Finals? It's the hardest part about this. Like, everybody keeps telling me I'm a Lakers hater. I'm not a Lakers hater. Fun fact, I actually grew up a Lakers fan. So it doesn't bring me joy to sit here and say I don't believe in the Lakers. Now, certainly there's a good argument for the way they played since the All-Star break. There's a good argument for how they're playing down the stretch and the fact that maybe they're just healthy enough to make a drastic difference throughout the course of the Western Conference. That's fine. I'll buy that if that's the argument you want to give me. But how is it that I'm supposed to, on the one hand, say, well, man, you got to beat the Timberwolves because you need those days off. And if you don't beat the Timberwolves, not going to be easy to get through Oklahoma City or the Pelicans. How am I supposed to reasonably have that conversation on one side and then turn around and say, oh, but they can beat Memphis for sure? Like, Memphis is a better basketball team than D. All of the above. Everybody we just mentioned. In 60 seconds, what all of this means for the West.
Yo, 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 what's up, party people? I'm Julie Foudy.
And I'm Lynn Ozawi.
We host the ESPN podcast Laughter Permitted, where we have candid chats with trailblazing women in sports and beyond.
We've talked with GOATs like Billie Jean King, Simone Biles, Mia Hamm, Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Michaela Schifrin, just to name a few.
So grab a donut or 500 and check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor, Ally, who has supported us since day one.
It's Laughter Permitted. O'Reilly.
Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and friction and reduce wear. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $33.99. Limit supply. See store for details. Get Syntec only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Realistically, maybe the Lakers can go on a run. Sure. That's buying the argument that AD and LeBron continue to play lights out, that they stay healthy, and that Reeves continues to thrive, and that can get the most out of their roster top to bottom. I understand how we get to that point. That's fine. But don't we at least have to admit that that's asking a ton of whatever these Lakers have been? I'm not willing to count out Denver. I'm not willing to count out Memphis. I'm not willing to count out Phoenix. Why? Because the West is as wide open as it's ever been. And sure, we see teams dominate in the regular season, and it doesn't equal playoff success. But in a year where nothing is certain, why would I take the one thing certain as a team that in the standings right now isn't as good as the others? With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat from Fitz and Harry, I'm Jason Fitz.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. One call, that's all.
This is On the Tee with Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson on 94.5 ESPN.
I do want to bring up, before we dive into recovery shots, this week we started a new initiative here at ESPN Milwaukee, something we're hoping to do quarterly. And we're kind of building this quarter's around something that I've done in the past. It's called ESPN Milwaukee Cares, and it's to drive awareness initiatives for different charitable organizations. And for the 5th year, I am going to be playing in the MAC Funds Ringer events, something that you will be playing in. This is going to be your second one?
Second, yes.
Second one. So it's 100 holes of golf and raising as much money as we possibly can in the fight against childhood cancer for the MAC Fund. And you can donate by texting CARES, C-A-R-E-S, to 800-990-3776. And every little bit counts, whether it's $5, $10, whatever you can donate. Every little bit counts, is appreciated, and I want to thank those people who have donated already. My twist on it this year is last year, Jen Latta was getting ready for half marathon, whatever, and I just offhandedly said there's not enough money in the world that exists to make me run a half marathon. So she knew how to challenge me correctly because you couldn't give me the money. I don't care. But she said, well, what if I raise money for the MAC Fund? And we kind of got sidetracked with some other things, so we folded it into this. So if I raise $13,100, I will run a half marathon this summer, which is something that I never thought I would do. I still have zero desire to do. So, I'm hoping I raise $12,900, get really close, but don't get to the 13.1, so I don't have to run the half marathon, but still raise quite a bit of money for the MAC Fund. But that's the goal right now, is to get to $13,100, and every little bit counts on our road there. But throughout the course of the week, I'm going to be appearing on a couple of guest spots on WTMJ. Co-hosted Homer and Tony today. I'll be on Wilde and Tausch and and Scalzo and Brust later this week as well.
Just like a couple of loops around a golf course. I mean, you're going to be playing 100 holes in one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they give you a golf cart for that. If you give me a golf cart, I can knock out a half marathon easy. In my sleep, I could do that.
You have walked 36 in a day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I probably
You can do
54.
13.1.
Oh, I have no doubt I could do it. I just don't want to do it.
Come on, people. Let's make this happen so we can all watch Gabe Neitzel do it.
It's just going to be it make for an interesting summer to have to train, and because that's one of the things I've done runs before, but they're like 5Ks. It's like, oh, okay, I can. That's not a problem. Running 13.1 miles, yeah, you actually have to work at that.
Yeah.
You actually have to put it together and work at that.
Yeah, but it's an amazing thing you're doing, by the way, to try and raise that money. The MAC Fund is an unbelievable organization. It's why I joined the Ringer as well. I'm on the board of the MAC Fund. My wife works in the MAC Fund Center at Children's Wisconsin. So we know where that money is going and what kids are benefiting from everybody's generosity. So please find a way, as Gabe mentioned, there is no amount too small to make a difference in these kids' lives.
I was talking with Becky Pinter last week, who is the president CEO of the MAC Fund, and she echoed the same thing, because that $5 or $10 could push a research project over that, to hit the goal that they were trying to reach, to get to that research project, and that $5 or $10 could be that final push to get some sort of cure, to get, so every little bit counts on the on that road to in that fight against childhood cancer. So yesterday on the PGA Tour, it ended up being an incredible shot. I still can't believe that Patrick Cantlay tried to hit the shot, but the ball got wedged pretty much between two railroad ties and prevented it from going into the water. It ended up hitting a ridiculous recovery shot, got up and down, stayed in the tournament by only making a bogey. Double bogey there, he's probably out of it. Obviously didn't end up going on winning, but still gave himself a chance over the final 3 holes or so. What are some of the better recovery shots either you've hit or you can remember seeing?
There are some that I hit that the percentages don't favor it.
Sure.
Like if I were to try it 10 times, you only remember the one time you pull it off.
100%.
There's always a window, Gabe. That's how I look at recovery shots. It's just, how badly do you want to mess up your round is kind of the way I look at it. Like, if I'm not playing very well, I'll go for anything.
Oh, yeah. Hey, might as well, right? Gives you something to talk about at the end of the day. Hey, I wasn't playing well, but on hole 14, you should have seen what I did.
And the other thing you have to ask yourself is, how much do you care about your clubs? Because more often than not, these shots are coming off of roots or rocks, or sticks or sand, maybe all the above, depending on where you're hitting from. I hit one off rocks with, I took my shoes off in Florida.
Okay.
Played it in like a soft, like a little bit of water.
Okay.
And somehow got this ball up and onto the green, but had to dry clean my pants in the process. So it was worth it for that shot, but there have been some other ones that have not gone in my favor. What about you?
So the one that sticks out happened just a little over a month ago, playing in Vegas.
Okay.
So whenever I go out to Vegas, it's for a WPGA Pro-Am. So I'm out there with, it's a team of 5 when they do it in Vegas. The WPGA, Wisconsin Professional Golfers Association, does a Pro-Am out there. A bunch of guys from Wisconsin and pros play. So it's 3 different days, and the event every day differs. One day it's 3-2-1, where 3 scores count on the par 5s, 2 on the par 4s, 1 on the par 3s. Now, this is all handicapped. One day it's 2 net balls count, and this day we were playing at Paiute, the Wolf course at Paiute, which is just outside Vegas, and it's the hardest format. It's 1 net, 1 gross. So you have to have, guys that are, low handicaps, you're pro. You got to have guys making pars. And we had kind of gotten off to a good start. We had played bad the first 2 days. This was our last day. We'd gotten off to a good start, and we thought we were doing pretty good. And we get to this island green that they have on the Wolf course. Second time I've played this course for this event, and for whatever reason, this green does not want to hold anything. Like it's a little wedge shot. It usually plays downwind, and this green holds nothing. So we have one guy in our group that we see is on the green. We think everybody else had rolled over the back. Well, luckily there was a bunker in the back left corner that one of our balls was in, and we get up there, and just off the green, in between kind of the rocks that they have, holding the rock wall that they have, and the patch of green grass that they have, the little patch of rough before you hit the green, is my golf ball. I mean, it's not a very big area, but my golf ball's sitting right there. And I don't know how I would have played this if I would have tried to play it, if I was playing my own golf ball. But at this point, we had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
One guy already made his par. Okay, if I try to get up and down from the drop area, make a 4. Okay, somebody else had already made a 4. So okay, then maybe I can try to make this par.
It's like a scramble feeling.
Yeah. So I don't know how I hit it. It's such a small patch, and I don't know how to. I'm not sure if the ball's going to pop up quick enough because it's sitting below the surface of what the green is, by a few inches or so. So I'm not sure if I'm able to pop this up. It's kind of sitting against it. And somehow I get enough, and there's not a lot of space to stand, because again, it just falls off into the water, 5 feet below me or whatever. So you can't even put a foot in the water, to try to get a stance, and somehow popped it up onto the green and made the 18-footer for par.
Oof.
So our score on that hole ended up being 3-3, which I got to imagine on that day was pretty good. And we ended up finishing T2 for that day. But it's like one of those shots where I don't know what's going to happen if I hit this. But what the hell, let's try hitting it.
That's how I feel about fried eggs in greens. Like if you get really plugged in a bunker, like a greenside bunker, and how much dirt and how much of this sand trap are you willing to ruin in your shot to the hole?
Yeah.
It is the mental debate. Because if you pull it off, you played your ball as it lied. If you don't, superintendent is going to take your head off. It's a risk reward there.
Oh, and if you pull it off, it's always worth it. Rudy from Sheboygan chiming in, 800-990-3776. His personal best, he hit a rescue 3 out of a large railroad-tied waste bunker on the left side of the straights hole 11 from 200 out, uphill, hit it within 10 feet for a birdie 4. So
hell yeah.
I know what bunker he's talking about over there on the straights on the left-hand side. So that's a great shot. But he also says Bubba Watson shot 2012 Masters. That's the best recovery shot of all time. To be able to somehow hook a wedge that much. But my personal favorite, not shocking, is going to be a Tiger shot. You remember that shot he hit at the WGC Mexico? Out of it's just so ridiculous. He didn't win the event. I think
was it the
Justin
one out of the
Thomas,
bunker that he wrapped around the tree?
Yeah, so for whatever reason, there's a tree in his way, even though he's in a bunker. And he has to play this big banana slice out of it. And he hits the left side of the green, and because he's cutting it, it just spins so much, it ends up 5 feet from the hole. Especially in today's world where the golf ball doesn't spin that much, especially for these guys, for Tiger to purposefully hit the shot that he was and hit it like that, I still can't wrap my head around hitting a shot with that much shape on it and getting it to land exactly where you wanted it.
I also think about Jordan Spieth's shot that he had on 17 at Whistling Straits during the Ryder Cup when he was on the side of the hill.
Goodness.
That shot is
best shot tracer of all time.
Yeah, incredible. Just straight up.
I don't even know how he hit it that high. I thought he was going into Lake Michigan. I didn't think he was going to be able to stop.
He has a couple of those. How about number 8 at Pebble Beach?
Well, that one was a little more dangerous. If he ends up in Lake Michigan at Whistling on number 17 there, it's just he's getting a little wet. He's not, potentially falling to his death.
The best part about that shot was the shot tracer going up as Jordan's going down. And he's falling down the hill trying to keep his balance. He essentially ran into Lake Michigan just to get his balance.
Yeah, I thought he was going in. I thought for sure he was going in. Somehow he didn't, and then somehow Justin Thomas didn't make the putt. JT missed the putt. They were playing alternate shot. JT missed the putt.
You forget about that part of the story.
I have not forgotten, and maybe I haven't forgiven JT for that as well. We do have to, speaking of Jordan, JT, and team golf, they're not playing together this week. They typically pair up with each other when they're playing in the Ryder Cup, but there are some Ryder Cup pairings that typically happen at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. We'll make our Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All picks coming up next on the tee.
Forget about changing that dial. More On the Tee with Gabe and Steven next on 94.5 ESPN.
Milwaukee has relied on Ewald Automotive to keep them on the road for almost 60 years. We've been on a mission to provide the best experience whether you're servicing your car or shopping for a new one. Ewald may span across southeast Wisconsin, but our commitment remains local. Our customers are our neighbors. We live, work, and raise our families together in the same communities. And that's why it's our goal to help you find the right car for your family.
Go to EwaldAuto.com.
Attention, attention. More superheroes are needed. Current Electric is growing and hiring service and commercial electricians, solar panel installers, and customer service representatives. Current Electric offers 5-star tech experience with training, coaching, and support, along with competitive pay and benefits. Apply at currentelectricco.com/careers. That's currentelectricco.com/careers. Current Electric has been serving Milwaukee since 1983 and is an equal opportunity employer.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Elevate your next dining experience at the Bridgewater Modern Grill, featuring a seasonally driven kitchen inspired by a custom oak-fed grill. You can expect to enjoy a menu filled with wood-fired flavors and classic comforts. With the longest riverfront patio in the city, add the Bridgewater to the top of your list for your weekday lunch, weekend brunch, or dinner out with friends. Visit the Bridgewater Modern Grill at 2011 South 1st Street in Milwaukee's Harbor District or bridgewatermke.com.
Cedar Ridge Distillery continues to make a home right here in Wisconsin. The original 86 bourbon is the best-selling bourbon in Iowa for 3 straight years, and you have the opportunity to get that here in Wisconsin. Also, the quintessential, the best American single malt, voted by John Barleycorn Awards, and Cedar Ridge manages every step of the production from grain to glass. Make sure you pick up the Scalzo and Brust private barrel of bourbon and rye whiskeys, available at Discount Liquor at 51st in Oklahoma or Barstow in Maine in downtown Waukesha.
A big storm brewing? Don't miss it. It's Thursday Thunder this April at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. You could win a share of $400,000 in cash and prizes. Just play with your club card April 1st through the 27th, and you could be one of 50 winners each Thursday. Showers might bring flowers, but Thunder brings the boom. Only at Potawatomi. More info at paysbig.com/thunder. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
This place has a pulse. You hear it in the canopy, feel it in the ground. Life, fully illuminated, engulfs you. From the birds singing in the treetops above to the tiniest insects in the soil below. You take a deep, cleansing breath, filling your lungs with the essence of the forest. Now, imagine it's all gone. Healthy, life-giving forests reduced to nothing. No singing birds, no lush canopy, and water and food in short supply around the world. Time is running out to protect our forests, and without our love, they can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our forests. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
4, it's On the Tee with Gabe Neitzel and Stephen Watson on 94.5 ESPN.
Before we get to our one call that's all picks, and realistically, I think you can pick maybe one of, if you really want to stretch it, 4 teams, but I think it's going to be one of 3. Should be pretty easy to make your picks this week at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. You've got some reaction on Twitter from some of the questions we've been asking today.
Yeah, a couple of embarrassing moments. One guy tweeting at us, almost took my brother-in-law's head off as I whipped my putter after a 4-putt.
Oh, no.
Yikes. Been there. Not the brother-in-law head off part, but 4-putt for sure. And then a couple of people from Wisconsin Club are tweeting back at me about their own separate encounters with said goose. So we've got a...
So that goose is a menace.
We've got a mother goose problem at Wisconsin Club.
So when did this happen? Was this past year? 2 years ago?
Last year.
That you fell into the water?
Yeah.
Okay. This goose somehow chased you in there?
Didn't chase me in there. More, I tripped over my bag and fell in there. I don't want to paint a picture that I was running for my life into the water and opted to go into the pond instead of running down the rest of the fairway.
Yeah.
No, it was just me tripping over my golf bag and
falling into the pond.
All
right, even better. Who do you have this week? Gruber Loves' one call that's all pick.
You know, I'm struggling this year with my picks.
Yep.
Have not been very good, Gabe.
Same.
So I'm not going to make this harder than it needs to be.
Okay.
And I am going to go with Vanilla Ice, a.k.a. Vanilla X.
The defending champs.
We're going to go with Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele to defend their title in Zurich for my Gruber Loftus one call that's all pick.
Yeah, they just a dominant team, not only in the Ryder Cup, but dominant in this event last year.
And the President's Cup.
Yeah, President's Cup. They do it all. Siwoo Kim and Tom Kim, I think, is going to be a fun team. They're
Kim
pairing
party
up.
of 2?
Yeah, that's going to be a fun team. Sam Burns, Billy Horschel, they were the runners-up last year. But I am taking the Flushers-only group. If you are not one of the elite ball strikers, you cannot play on this squad. I am taking Colin Morikawa and Max Homa. That is going to be a fun team to watch. Just 2 guys hitting tremendous flushed iron after tremendous flushed iron.
I will be rooting heavily for them, but those were my last 2 picks in the last 2 weeks of this show,
and
I'm
you down?
0 for 2 on them. So I opted to go with the safer Cantlay Schauffele pick.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I get it. Again, they're the defending champs, and easy to see why. It's not a deep field. The all the different elevated events, I think, has kind of robbed some of the star power from this event, but you still have a lot of star power at the top. Should be fun to watch. We'll talk about that. Hopefully have some more fun golf stories next week right here on the Tee.
The 2023 U.S. Senior Open is coming to Stevens Point soon. Buy your tickets now to join us June 27th through July 2nd at Century World. Our PJ's Champion Club tickets include a single-day general admission pass plus exclusive access to PJ's, Century World Restaurant with complimentary food and beverage, and VIP parking. Buy your tickets now. Daily, weekly, or premium tickets are available at USSeniorOpen.com. That's USSeniorOpen.com.
It's our lowest prices of the season at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Right now, shop unbeatable deals on the things you need for spring. Like premium Scotts and Miracle-Gro products for a lush lawn and garden. 1 cubic foot bags of Miracle-Gro all-purpose garden soil, just $4.99 each. Or Scotts Turf Builder with Halt's Crabgrass Preventer, $20 off after sale and 10